Okay, so like jumping right into it, right? We're doing a deep dive today, global markets. And, you sent over this, My Pensions Advisor's Global Market Update. Today's 210225.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's like kind of a mixed bag, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Some
yeah.
things up, some things down. And what's the deal with that? What's causing all this uncertainty in the markets?
Well, the source, it highlights like two things, right, that are kind of driving, a lot of the jitters. One being like ongoing trade tensions,
Okay.
like stuff with U.S. trade tariffs.
So, like, we've all heard about these tariffs, but how are they actually messing with the markets, on the ground? What's happening?
Well, tariffs, right? They're basically like a tax on goods that are imported from other countries.
Right.
So, like, if you think about it, they can like really ripple through global trade.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, for instance, the steel and aluminum tariffs that the U.S. put in place a couple of years ago.
Right.
Initially, they were supposed to help out our domestic
Sure.
industries, but they ended up raising costs for manufacturers who like needed to import metals, right?
Oh, okay.
And that like had a knock-on effect on consumer prices, right?
Yeah.
And even like sparked other countries to put retaliatory tariffs on U.S. goods.
Oh, wow.
So it's like a whole cycle of uncertainty.
It's like, so it's not just the tariffs themselves, it's like the disruption to the supply chain.
Totally.
Okay, yeah, yeah, that makes total sense. Now, the source also mentions something about interest rates. What's that all about? How does that play into this whole thing?
Yeah, so the update talks about this higher for longer environment we're seeing with interest rates.
Okay,
Basically, central banks all over the world, right? They're trying to like keep inflation in check.
right.
And they're doing that by raising these interest rates, right?
Okay,
And the expectation is that those rates will stay high for a while, right?
okay.
And of course, that has implications for the markets.
I see. So because higher interest rates mean that businesses have to pay more to borrow money,
Exactly.
which can, slow down their investments, slow down the whole economy. Is that why investors are kind of nervous?
Yeah, exactly. And then there's like always that underlying fear in the back of everyone's mind. If these rates stay high for too long,
Yeah,
could it like potentially tip the economy into a recession?
right.
It's like a balancing act that central banks have to, walk this tightrope.
Yeah, it's a minefield. Okay, so trade tensions, high interest rates for who knows how long. Uh, Anything else in the update that might be contributing to this kind of mixed bag performance?
It's important to remember that like markets, they're complex, right?
Oh, for sure.
Influenced by tons of factors. And while this update focuses on those two big concerns, right, it also kind of hints at like this broader range of influences that might be contributing to this mixed performance in the markets.
Like what?
Things like what's going on geopolitically,
Right.
shifts in like how consumers are feeling, right, their sentiment, or even like advances in technology. All
Interesting.
these things can play a role.
So it's not just tariffs and interest rates. It's like the whole global economy is connected, and all these different events can either create opportunities or risks for investors.
Exactly.
It really makes you think. So if we're saying these uncertainties are like the big drivers right now, are there any like industries or sector that might actually do well in this climate? Like something counterintuitive?
That's a really good point. A lot of times when there's economic uncertainty, investors will flock to these like safe haven assets like
Right?
gold or government bonds.
Sure.
And then some industries, like cybersecurity or renewable energy,
Right.
they might actually see more demand because companies and governments are focusing on stability and long-term solutions.
Huh. So even with all the market jitters, there could be some bright spots. That's something to keep in mind. Thanks for breaking this all down. It's given me, and I'm sure all our listeners, a lot to think about.
Yeah, absolutely.
Appreciate
No
it.
problem.